keep California cowgirls from vanishing. Welcome to the Urban Cowgirl Show, training our horses and miniature cows in ranch versatility. Penning Rusty and Susie, our bull and heifer. Roping Rusty with Morgan horse Semi. Training Eve to drive cart. Training Eve to work over her haunches with a motor cow simulator. Training Eve to lay down. Training Eve to harness, pull a log. Training Semi to harness, pull a log on turf. Jumping at Liberty to music, making our Morgan horses our partners. Training Eve on a cow roping simulator. Training on our driveway, which is covered by sand, so we have a straight track. Stepping over poles, jumping over crossbar jumps. Training in our trail obstacles area. Semi on the big steps. Morgan horse Sadie doing obstacles rainlessly. Semi drives a cart. Sadie pulls a log. Sadie learns to pull a cart. Miniature zebu heifer Susie learns to drive a cart. Bull Rusty learns to pull a harrow. Tips on how to accomplish selected trail obstacles at Minmore Farm Obstacles course with Minmore Farm Morgans, Part 1. We will be using an Australian saddle which has been loaned to us, so we will first show you how to cinch this saddle, which is rather different from most other saddles. Cinch this Australian saddle, we're going to first show you the wrong way.
Okay. What I was doing before was having this this leather side that's not the rough side turned up. I thought it went like this, but it goes like this, so that this part is on the very outside and the non-buckle part is close to the horse instead of the other way around. So
now we're going to show you the right side, the correct way?
The correct way to do it. Yes.
Okay,
So
we think.
So make sure that the buckle is on the outside of the horse and outside of this, and bring first, Colin Dangard, who made this saddle, says to go through this top part, but for us that's a little difficult. This top slot is a little too small to get through, so we're just going to go through the bottom part, which will work just fine.
Okay.
I've done it before, so it comes up.
And make sure you show us when you actually engage that tongue.
Right, okay, so hook the circle over the buckle.
Okay, let me show that a little closer because that's really unusual. It's like almost a quick release for removing the cinch, which could be a real good safety feature. Okay, go ahead.
So have the buckle right about at armpit length and hook this big circle over the buckle, like so. And then tighten it just a little bit, not too tight though. So that you can get the tongue back through here.
Okay, it looks like you're about to, and then you're going to go back through?
We're going to go back through the bottom hole.
Before you engage the tongue?
Before the tongue is engaged, yes.
Okay.
So maybe if you want to get a close-up
I am.
of this, okay. So
Okay, now here's the part where we often do it with our Western saddle. You know, we say, okay, now cinch it up tight, and then check it after you move them out. Right now is when you're going to, there's supposed to be something on the market that makes that part easy.
And there's the tongue engagement.
Yeah, okay, from my experience, let me show you with Western saddles. Once I've put the tongue in, if I pull this out, see, if I pull it out, the tongue, just ever so slight, the tongue tends to stay in the hole that you put it in.
So and then what they were saying with the quick release is that it's just pull this up and it's released.
You can just take your saddle, your cinch ring off of the little clasp, the hook.
Yeah.
I see.
What you need to do is get this loosened up enough that you can just pop it right off.
Okay, and then how do you store it? Do you leave it that way?
Yeah, we can just leave it like, I'd say about like this, with the bottom still through the bottom hole, so we don't get, you know, that mixed up again.
Okay.
And but then just can be stored just like that.
Okay, over the saddle.
Yeah.
Okay, and it stays, you know, it's not going to fall out as you move the saddle because it's wrapped around that saddle ring, right?
Yeah.
Okay, well, we don't have time to actually take Eve to the obstacle today and maybe even step in the saddle, but while it was still fresh in our minds, we wanted to show you what we think is the right way to cinch this Australian saddle. That's all for today. Well, here is the obstacle. It's 2 barrels, and my barrels are water filled so they don't tip over very easily. A board with a chain handle. Now here is Eve. We still have the Australian saddle on her. As a matter of fact, we put a breast collar on just to make sure if the cinch loosens that the saddle will stay pretty much on her back. And Brianna's going to walk Eve around this new obstacle, which is the way we first introduce our horses to obstacles, especially trail obstacles here in the Minmore Farms obstacles area. You see she's looking at it. She's not used to seeing that board. We've done many a session around the barrels, but the board on the barrels is yet another object which she could be perceiving as potentially dangerous, potentially a predator. Now go the other direction on this side. We always do everything in both directions. Good. Can you walk all the way around in that direction? Now she's investigating, which is okay, but it is wood. We don't want her chewing on it. We encourage investigation. You're going to see very small step progress here in teaching our Minmore Farm horses this new obstacle. Okay, now we're going to go and try it once because we've never tried it with Eve around. And by trying it, I'm saying we're going to try it from the ground. Eventually, we need to do it from saddle, one-handed, right? Because the other hand will be holding on to the reins. But for now, I'm going to let Eve, who's standing very close by, watch me move it. Move this board in such a way that we pick up the chain end, leaving the other end on the barrel, the far barrel, and do a 360 around the barrels. So I'm moving my camera back away so you can watch. And you'll see that it's a little bit tricky to do even from the ground. I made the chain long so that you can bring it up to where the box in which you're handling your reins, or up to your shoulder, or whatever it takes to pick this board up. Right now I can do it with my left hand, and you see what I'm doing? Pivoting around the far barrel. you can see how challenging that will be to do from saddle. But that's what we like here at Minmore Farms. We like challenges. We like to break these tasks up into small steps and show you how my Morgan horses can do these trail obstacles and how we teach them to do it using classic principles of instruction. Here we are with the Australian saddle on, cinched up the way we showed you. It works. It feels real good. We've walked Eve around a little bit with it. She's fine on it, the way it's cinched. We've walked her around the obstacles, and now we're going to try this new obstacle. And you know what? I want to show you what she does and doesn't do, because she's never been asked to take a rider to an obstacle of this sort and do what she has to do to help the rider negotiate the obstacle. So I'm doing a little bit of right leg. Okay, I'm going to let her think about the fact that we're standing here by this barrel. I'm going to lean over very slowly. The handle to this board is a chain. It's a long chain, and I've shown you from the ground how long it is, and I explained that I made it long because I didn't know when I was in saddle how much handle I was going to need. Okay, now she's hearing funny sounds. She's seen the board today and the other day, and now it's going to be very challenging because I'm going to have to do this one-handed, but I'm going to do it in small steps. What the objective of this obstacle is, with reins in hand, pick up the board with the other hand and keep the end of the board pivoting over the other barrel. I have a feeling that Eve is going to try to sidestep away from this obstacle at first, in which case I will simply drop the chain and correct her. And however long it takes to get Eve to help us negotiate this obstacle, that's okay. If we don't show you, because it's kind of boring to show you all the repetition, we'll tell you how long it took. So what I'm going to do now, I'm asking Eve, whoop, whoop. Okay, now I'm going to pick up the board. Pretty heavy. I'm going to ask her to take a couple more steps. Whoop. Whoop. I'm going to need help, girls, because if this board drops in front of her, she's going to be spooked. Yeah, keep it on there. Let's see if I can go even 90 degrees. Looking where I'm going. Oh boy, she says, I better move fast. Whoa, whoa. Now let's see if I can bring the board back to the first barrel. Whoa. Place it on the barrel and be done. Well, without help, I wouldn't have been able to do that. Because at one-handed, I wouldn't have been able to keep even that 360-degree circle, especially with something as spooky as a board of this size being moved with her. It's like she's perceiving it as something that's following her, so she's perceiving it as possibly a predator. And then you have to deal with the mindset of how do you explain that the rider should be trusted because it isn't a predator, it's just a job to be done. And so that will come with repetition. And you know what else I realized today? While if this were done correctly, this board is going to be fine. It's too heavy right now. I need something maybe half the size and half the weight. And then before I get up on Eve again, I'm also going to do a little bit more one-handed bending, one-handed flexing. I'm going to try it right now without the board. A little bit of leg pressure.
The board was hitting her in her front leg.
Whoa. Okay, I'm not getting the whoa, so I'm going to one-rein stop.
So yeah, if we cut the board maybe in half.
Right.
Split it right down
Exactly.
the middle.
Then we can set it up at our other barrels in the square pen, rain or shine, we can practice this.
And it'd be a lot easier to keep on the
Yes.
barrel, too.
Yes, I was thinking the same thing. Now, I have Brianna and Katie here today who are new helpers. They have now seen what we need to do with Eve to just get the prerequisites down solid before we try to do the task. And the prerequisites are this, and you're going to do this not just in an arena, you're going to do it here in the obstacles, up and down the driveway. You're going to get her to allow you to one-handed walk around something. I'm looking where I'm going, and then get her to stop. Whoa, whoa. I'm not getting the stop that I want. So we're going to have to work on, whoa, one of the most important of all commands. Now she's giving me lateral flexion. I'm going to try it again, the other direction, one-handed. I'm not getting it. Okay, I had to give direct rein. Whoa, whoa. One rein stop. Now when I say one-handed, what I'm actually saying is Eve has to respond to a neck rein. Because one-handed doesn't mean pull back. One-handed means the pressure of the rein on her neck is the cue that she's supposed to move away from the pressure. But the most problem I'm having here is the whoa. And that's disturbing. So before we film again, we're going to work on getting an immediate whoa. One-handed or two-handed. Try it again now. Whoa, whoa, hey, better, better, okay. And when we get the correct answer, we try to reward by removing the pressure. And for Eve today, the removal of the pressure is going to mean off the saddle and out to pasture. That's all for today. Sonia Sokolow, the Urban Cowgirl. We're starting a new session today, and I'm showing you something that is making me very, very happy today. Look at Sadie's left rear leg cocked, no stress, resistance free, and look what we just did. We put the Australian saddle on her. We didn't get one kick up. Well, do you remember the last time we said anything about Sadie? It was that she was on sick leave. We have been treating her belly. She has a gnat allergy, and this time of year it tends to flare up. We've been treating it with the steroid cream, with Ensure, which is a pyrethrin-based fly spray, and Equispot, which is a spotted fly spray. It's not a spray, but Equispot is a spotted fly application. And this was all by vet recommendation. We've been doing that for about a week or two. And we've been watching her sores on her belly, and although we get new ones from time to time, the old ones are healing. And today, although we expected a lot of trouble when we put this saddle cinch on her, we got no trouble. Now, what we're going to do, we're going to walk her back. We're not going to go too far today. We're not going to get in the saddle. But we did put the breast collar on so that the saddle couldn't spin under her belly, just in case it loosens up. We try not to tighten the cinch too much. We're trying to give her a good experience. We have on the Monty Roberts dually halter. And what we're going to do is, with our arm extension, we're going to walk back to our obstacles area and just introduce her from the ground to two new obstacles that we have back there. So the next time the camera's turned on, it'll be at the obstacles area. And this is Sonia Sokolow, the Urban Cowgirl. Well, here is Sadie investigating the board on the barrels. We haven't actually introduced her to them as we did even say in Semi because she was on sick leave. But today, from the ground, with the dually halter on, with the Australian saddle on, she is going to learn a little bit about this board. And here's what I mean when I say a little bit. You just saw her investigating it with her nose. Now I'm going to make the noise it makes when you lift up the chain to lift up the board. And I'm going to let her watch the board being lifted. For this, I'll tell you what, for this, Brianna put it on the side ring. We're going to use the Monty Roberts training aspect of this halter. It has rings on the side and a double-stranded nylon across the nose, which makes it like a rope halter. And since we're doing some training right now, we immediately made it not just a leading halter, but a training halter. And we have a 12-foot yacht rope lead line with a breakaway clasp on the ring of the halter. Now watch while I move the board. I really don't expect Sadie, knowing her disposition, to be upset about it at all. But you'll see, because we'll show you, and we haven't rehearsed. All right, Sadie. Good girl. Now while I walk around this way, if she's being okay, you walk around and follow me. Remember, an obstacle that could be perceived as spooky is less spooky if the horse is following it. So the first thing we do is introduce her to it where she is following the obstacle. So come around here behind me. Let's see what she says. I'm making noises. Okay. Okay. All right, now turn around and go to the platform. And I'm going to put the camera on the platform. Sadie won't have any idea what this platform's all about because it's a new obstacle. We're going to let her investigate it. You'll see it in a moment. We're going to walk around it. What I want her to do eventually, and my other horses, is to put their front feet on it. Just kind of like a circus platform. And then we'll decide whether or not we want to go a little farther and have them pivot over their front end on it. I'm going to take my arm extension and show her by pointing to the top of the platform that I really want her to pay attention to the top and eventually step on it. You see that investigation? That's very, very good. I'm glad that she has pawed at it. That means she's checking it out. Aha. Okay. Let's stop for a minute. She actually stepped on it. And I noticed that it tipped a little bit. So, yeah, I'm going to have to do something right to make it a little bit more stable because I don't want it to tip up and scare her. So for today, that's all I'm going to do. I'm extremely pleased with the progress so far. Now I'm going to show you the other very simple obstacle and what we intend to do with it. Well, here's the other obstacle. It's just a cable that is a circle. And we're going to ask our horses to put their front feet in it and pivot around their front end. For now, let's just let Sadie go closer to it. I'm not even sure she sees it, but let's see if she does. I'm going to use my arm extension to help point it out to her, and we'll see what she says about stepping into the circle. Walk her around. Good. Okay, we'll go around the other way, the other direction. You just went clockwise, now go counterclockwise. I think she doesn't even see it yet. We may move it to a sandy area too, so it is not so camouflaged on this natural debris-filled terrain. Now we move the Monty Roberts dually halter lead line to the other side. We're walking her around this ring. She may even touch it, but you know, I don't think she'll be concerned about it, even if it pops up. There, she stepped on it just now. No big deal. She's used to having ropes. She's done some log pulling before, ropes and straps on her feet. And this is just another desensitization process. Okay, now walk her up to it. Remember, horses don't see too well. They have blind spots right in front of their face and behind them. So she may not see it, but if you can walk her closer to it, let her see it out of the peripheral vision. If she chooses to investigate it, that's fine. And I'm going to point it out to her with my arm extension. Next time you see us do this, we'll probably be on the driveway track, or at least a sanded area where there aren't camouflage materials. There, her head's down, but you know she doesn't see it. She's licking her lips. You saw me pick it up with my arm extension. She wasn't afraid of it. This is Sadie, my Morgan mare, daughter to Eve, who usually has a very even disposition, and you're seeing it now. So we're probably going to move both this platform and this ring or circle to an area like, let's say right over here, where you see that there aren't as many leaves. It's a slightly sanded end of a driveway, and that's where we'll ask Sadie and our other horses to get desensitized, to accept, to learn how to deal with these new obstacles at Midmore Farms in the obstacles area. And once we're sure where we want to keep them, we will stabilize them and they will stay here. And then we keep coming back to do trail obstacles work with our very versatile Morgans. Our cast of characters: Sadie and Eve, Sammy, Rusty, and Susie. Heifer calf Selah. For more information, www.cowgirlchannel.com.